Okay, I think we're ready. Good morning, Al Ingalls here at pressure-free.com. It's a Friday in July, and I want to talk about insect bites and stings. That's the topic today of Pressure Free Living. I grew up on Lake Winnipesaukee in the summer when I was a child in New Hampshire, and the mosquitoes are big there. Once the sun starts to set, everyone moves into their screen porches. So there's a lot of screen porches on the summer homes and lake houses of New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, Connecticut, Massachusetts, like New England, then spread over here to Michigan, where we are like Minnesota, the land of lakes. The mosquitoes are the same. They come out, when it starts to be dusk. Um, and from the time I was a little girl, if I got a mosquito bite, it would blow up almost like the size of a quarter or half dollar, like really big, and take a couple weeks to heal. Like it just took so long to heal. And I so clearly remember this one night. It was a real awakening. I was about a year into creating Pressure Free and coaching it, and I'd coached a friend of mine, and we were at her house, which was on a lake here in Michigan. We're sitting out on the patio, and the sun's setting. The sun's like it's real getting to be a little dark, and her husband comes home, and he comes out, sits down with us, and he's like, "Oh, the mosquitoes." And my friend and I look at each other and we're like, what mosquitoes? Number one, they weren't swarming us. Number two, we weren't getting bit at all. So I started to dig into the reason why. Like, why weren't they coming around us as much as like in the past? Because she admitted to me, as we were sitting out there, she goes, "Yeah, I would have to go in. I would get so many mosquito bites and they'd blow up really big." And I go, "Oh my gosh, I was the same way." And so what is with this? The first thing that came to mind is that when we trigger that first flood of hormones, of the stress response, one of their purposes is to pull fat and glucose from our extremities into the bloodstream. So we have a massive amount of energy to fight or run away. We'll even pull it from our heart and liver. We'll pull glycogen, so that we can massively fight or run away. When that happens, we have a whole bunch of sugar in our bloodstream. What do mosquitoes like? They like sweetness. They like that. So we weren't having so much sugar running through our bloodstream, and that's the reason why I think the mosquitoes weren't swarming us. They weren't coming around us. Um, and then the reaction. So when you get a mosquito bite or an insect bite, the itching is so annoying. Annoyance is my big A. That's the thing I will trigger the stress response over often. So I would be annoyed, go tight, right? I'd be annoyed about the bug bite, and it's getting worse, and I can't get it to be better no matter what I put on it. So now I'm releasing more of those stress hormones, which is preventing my skin from being able to heal. So our skin is our largest organ, and when we trigger fight or flight, again, we're pulling fat and glucose from the extremities. Also, we're not digesting our food very well. So pulling the energy, if you will, the fat and glucose from the extremities, and that's usually where we're getting bit, we've lost power. We've lost the power to heal. So then I did some more research on the stress response and healing ability and found even more research. There was a research study done, I believe it was University of Texas. This is years ago that I read it, where even just holding an argument, even holding a disagreement with your spouse or partner, these were married couples, would cause you to trigger the stress response so much that your immune system was lowered about 50%, 40 to 50%. And so if our immune system is lowered when we trigger the stress response, we're not able to heal ourselves. So that's why it took so long for my bug bites to heal. They'd last like 2 weeks. Now they just last a few days, if even a day, which is amazing to me. Stings are another thing. I had a very stressful little period of my life. I was leaving an executive position. The board president did not want me to leave and actually came to my home and just kind of raked me over the coals for wanting to leave. And I was it was really a difficult moment in my life and happened to be right on 9/11. So I can never forget it because it was happened the morning of 9/11. Our appointment was at 9 a.m. And so um I was just in this really negative state. And that weekend, we were going camping with my brother and sister-in-law and their son. And so that was 9/11. I can't remember what day of the week it was. The next day, so I was in kind of a frazzled state for days. Actually, I got sick. Yeah, I got like a head cold in September. How weird is that? So I got a head cold. I was very triggered by this whole incident, and I stepped on a yellow jacket. It was the morning that we were leaving, like in an hour or two, to go on this big camping trip to Lake Michigan. And my foot just blew up. It just blew up. And so I took some Benadryl, like I did all the things, right? And the only thing that felt good was keeping it in the water at the lake. Um, but I'd never had such a reaction like that. And when I think back about it now, it's like I was so in fight or flight during that time period. My immune system was way down. It couldn't clear. It couldn't solve the issue. And so, my physician said, you better have an EpiPen now. And I never did, knock on wood. I've been stung since. Now that I'm pressure free, it's like barely a thing. It's barely a thing. I just had a client yesterday tell me the same thing. Like it's really amazing how in just a matter of weeks for her, just a few weeks, she now has more control over her stress response, which means that every bit of her immune system is working better for her. So that was what was happening for me too. So if you're really reactive to, and notice the reaction is a physical reaction, but it's also a mental reaction of annoyance or anxiety over the fact that you just got stung. And if you can mitigate that, if the moment you get the sting, you can use every pressure-free tool you can think of, press the Ferris wheel, relax your belly, smile, think in your head, I'm going to be fine. Use the slogan. Slogan is such a powerful tool because your brain is just such an amazing apparatus for healing. But a lot of the times we're moving into the negative, into the tension, into the dark. The other thing that's really powerful is to not tell anybody. Don't tell anybody you just got stung. Don't tell anybody you've got this bug bite because typically people will want to give you sympathy, but the sympathy has a tension in it. So you'll notice their face will be a little tense, like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, do you need something? Like that, your shoulders go up. It's a very tense thing. That's been acculturated into our culture from the time we were little. It's the first time you ever got hurt, someone probably went, oh, let's take care of that. Right? I remember we had some bug bite medicine when I was a little girl. I can still smell it, like bug bite medicine. I have no idea what it was, but our doctors, I had two pediatricians, a man and a woman in Concord, New Hampshire. So our pediatricians gave my mother some sort of medicine for bug bites because we all had such a huge reaction. So um so yeah, so you don't want that tension. So see if you can be quiet. Don't blast on Facebook that you have something going down that's negative because you're going to get a lot of sympathy, but the sympathy is going to have a tension to it, and that doesn't help us heal. I was coaching some nurses once, and one of the nurses had broken or sprained her ankle severely. Like it was so blown up. And so they were sitting in a circle, and as before I got started with my workshop, they were just all kind of hovering over her ankle. And like, oh my gosh, did you get a second MRI? That just looks so terrible. And they were just like, very, very tense energy. And so I started my workshop, and then at one point I reflected on their tense energy toward the ankle and how that would be less effective than open energy and healing energy. These are nurses who want to help and heal people. And so I don't think anyone had ever talked to them about tense energy versus open energy and relaxed energy to help the healing get going. So I went through the whole workshop with them. It was about a 2 hour workshop. And when we finished, it was really kind of crazy how when we finished, not 3 minutes had gone by, and they were right back to the worry about the ankle, the tenseness about the ankle. And so it's like, wow. But I remember, like, people don't hear much. Think about any time you've gone to a lecture or workshop. What do you remember from it? Even immediately after, what do you remember from it? Probably not a whole lot. The statistics are pretty bleak as to what people remember from any lecture, or talk, or workshop. We'll remember if someone has us experience something, like people remember that I teach them this Ferris wheel because they're doing it with me, right? They're actually doing it. People remember if I look and see, are you a chest breather or a belly breather? They'll remember that because they're like touching their own body. So that's why in my workshops, I use a lot of things to get people touching and moving and doing something because that's probably what they'll remember. They won't remember so much else because everyone who's come into the room has already triggered fight or flight. So we can't remember. Like our hippocampus is down. It can't process the information very well. So we'll remember a few things, but we can't actually recall very much at all unless we don't trigger the stress response. One of my clients, she said, yeah, I probably used to remember maybe 20%, but she goes, now I remember 80%. I've watched that with my sons too, like what they remember has just increased so much. It's really fascinating. So we're able to remember more if we haven't triggered that stress response. So that was the case with these nurses. It's like I'd just done a 2 hour training and we did all kinds of different things together. And I really focused on that, are you tense or are you expanded? I really focused on that. And yet they didn't hear it. Like it didn't land as many times as I might have said it and different ways I would have come around to share it. It they went right back to the old behavior, which is another point is that we have these habits of reaction. They're so ingrained in us. They're just so ingrained in us. So to break them takes time. A lot of times when I get started with the client, they're like, well, how long is it going to take for me to have a breakthrough here? I can't tell you. I don't know. There's so many factors. What are all your stressors? How many habits of reactions do you have? What is your life like? What are all the things coming in on you and what's going on internally? So those are all factors into how soon you might have a breakthrough. But I think one of the deepest factors is how badly do you want to change? And one of the things that I'll point out is take a look and ask yourself, what is this stress costing me? I think about all the time that I was thinking about my mosquito bites over the years because they're constantly itching and constantly reminding me that I have these mosquito bites. Like, how much of my brain time is that taking up as I reflect back, right? It's crazy. And so think about what is stress costing you? What is the stress response costing you? And so that's a thing that sometimes flips a switch for someone and they're like, oh my gosh, I have got to make a change. If I don't make a change, if you don't make a change, where are you a year from now? Where's your heart? Where's your gut? Where's your brain? Where's your skin? Like, where are we a year from now if we don't make a change? So, understanding that, figuring that out, knowing that you really deserve to have a better life or a more beautiful life, or just change up some of these things that are just causing you so much distress. Um, I'm always here for you. So go ahead and just book a call with me. You can go to my website, ellingles.com, which is my little name down here. And you'll see a book a call button. So just press that. That'll take you to my calendar and we'll have a conversation. I'm having two conversations today with some new people.